Guys, I hope you are Roanoke because American Horror Story Roanoke is finally over, aired the last episode, but there's a lot to talk about, not just for the show, but what's coming next. We're going to get into all of that right here on American Horror Story Dissected. Hey everybody, I'm Alex Albin, joined for the very last time this season by Sadie Guinness. Sadie, this has been an incredible ride through the mind of Ryan Murphy and company. With the last episode airing, how are you feeling?
I'm still trying to wrap my head around everything I saw last night. That was definitely the most insane horror story finale of all time.
All right, well that's good news, but let's put up our spoiler alert before we get into it. I'll miss you, Spoily, so much. But a lot of stuff happened. The big thing that it turned out the season was about, which they said pretty explicitly, was it was about Lee and Flora, and it's always been about Lee and Flora. So what did you think about that journey? Was that properly set up, and did it properly pay off?
I think Adina Porter has been a bright spot this season. I think she's been amazing as Lee and really made me care about Lee's journey. Flora, on the other hand, I didn't understand. We only saw her in the reenactments, and then she popped up in the finale for the first time, and all of a sudden, we're supposed to care about her the most. I didn't get any character development with Flora, so I had a hard time sympathizing with, understanding, why she wanted to go hang out with this ghost for eternity, or, why she was so unhappy with Lee and Mason. I didn't really get why Flora was doing what she was doing, and I think that was probably the weakest point in the finale for me.
I think that's fair. I was surprised how much I was affected by Adina Porter by the end, particularly because she felt like such a nothing additional character at the beginning. It was so much focused on Shelby and Matt, and then suddenly we shifted to being in Lee. So I don't know if the writing process, they eventually came around to it or not, but whatever it is, like you said, she did a great job. We're showing off this trial footage right now. Let's talk about this because the structure of this episode, we kind of predicted it, but also totally did not predict it at all. For those who missed it, describe what went on and what did you think about it?
All right, I'm going to do my best here. The finale switched formats at least 5 different times. First, we see the cast doing a Paley Center panel in between My Roanoke Nightmare and Return to Roanoke. And then we get fan videos.
Can I just mention about the Paley Center thing? Those questions were too real. Having been to so many panels, seeing fans ask things like, how are you doing? I was like,
okay,
PTSD.
That's one of my things with this season is, what are they trying to say about horror story fans? They did not come off in a good light. They were getting murdered. They were asking pretty bad questions, what's your favorite color? They were depicted sort of poorly, and that's
this is a thing with a lot of Ryan Murphy shows, right? I mean, and OJ being one of the few exceptions. He's, and I say this weirdly in a kind way, but he's very hateful of a lot of people. He dives into what's wrong with them, and I think he and the company were as demeaning of celebrity culture as they were of fan culture at the same time. They were equal opportunity haters, is what I took away from it.
I just wanted to see them do it with a little bit more nuance, but I guess it's a Ryan Murphy show.
Yeah. Of the shows, there were a couple in there. There was the Paley Center thing. There was
YouTube. There was Spirit Chasers. There was Cracked, and then there was just an American Horror Story. All of a sudden, it broke format completely.
Right. Well, so taking all of that, adding in My Roanoke Nightmare and Return to Roanoke, what was your favorite show within the show?
Cracked.
Yeah.
I loved Cracked. I'm a huge Snapped fan, and so the sort of cheesy graphics and the history of Lee, mixing the trial footage with the reenactment footage was just so spot on, and I loved it. I would have watched a whole season of Cracked.
Yeah, I was a big fan of a lot of Winter Special, and
Yes.
Same thing for the cheesy graphics, but that intro there was absolutely spot on, perfect. And of course, Sarah Paulson was amazing in that role. For those who don't know, we talked about this a little bit the last episode, but who's Lana Winters? Why is she important to the franchise?
She is maybe the most beloved character of all time in a horror story. She was the final girl of Asylum, this investigative reporter who became abducted by a serial killer, had a baby with him, and then this son grew up and actually confronted her during the finale of Asylum. And so when we see Lana trying to talk down the Polk in last night's finale, it was very much a callback to the Asylum finale, only this time it didn't work and Lana ended up getting knocked out.
Yeah, poor Lana. I did like, I don't think we have a clip of this necessarily, but I did like when she was recuperating in the bed and laid the smackdown on the local reporter. To me, that was, it wasn't exactly subtle, but that was the best piece of satire about fame to me, at least as it relates to the news. Having suddenly 4 windows pop up and she was in one of the windows, it was a nice little touch, and it definitely made me laugh out loud. What connections are we missing? What's going on? What's going forward? What do we need to still know about this season?
Well, the biggest reveal of the season actually didn't happen in the show. In an interview, Ryan Murphy said that the Witch of the Woods character, who people are calling I don't know how to say her name, to be honest. I can spell it, can't say it.
Lady Gaga, let's say
Yeah,
Lady
we're
Gaga.
just gonna say Gaga.
Yep.
She was playing the original Supreme.
Okay.
And that's definitely something that we're gonna see explored going forward. And so we're getting a Murder House Coven season, so maybe it'll be explored there, or maybe we'll get a little more background on her next season, because that's definitely the biggest thread left hanging for me.
Was there anything else we needed to know? I mean, they blew up the house, so there's not a lot more that could happen with the Roanoke house.
Well, we did see the butcher and her people were still running wild.
Yeah.
But we also found out earlier this season that Lee had another daughter who disappeared, Emily. Some people think that might be, like, sort of come into play in future seasons. Or maybe that was just there to sort of give emotional background on, like, why Lee cares so much about being there for Flora.
Yeah, whatever it is, it was a weird capper. It was a surprising capper, but I think it did round the season out nicely. We are going to have more people filming stupid reality shows inside of the house. It's just not going to happen. Blow it up. There you go.
How? Okay, let's back up.
Yeah.
Priscilla shoots Lee with a gun and the whole house explodes?
Have you ever shot a gun? They're real powerful.
I don't
Here was my
understand.
interpretation, actually, is at some point they must have opened up the gas, and so the spark of the gun caused the explosion. That's the only thing that I could read into that. Otherwise, no, that is not how guns work.
And why does Priscilla need protection? She's a ghost.
You know, she's a scared little girl ghost.
If anyone has answers about why a ghost needs protection from another ghost after 300 years of being dead, like, I welcome any and all theories.
Sure. Also, please let us know, we were talking about this just before, why Lee isn't burnt out and horrible looking when she becomes a ghost.
Yes.
This is another question that we have. We have a lot of questions, you guys. We have answered so many over the course of the season. Now it's your turn to answer our questions. We're going to be on here for the next 24 hours asking you guys questions about American Horror Story. Or instead, maybe we'll just wrap it up and we'll see you next season on American Horror Story Dissected. Until then,
Stay spooky.